true story. When once there was a hearing on ghosts in the court. When a murderer said in the court that I'm not a murderer, and I stood in his defense only because I was the only one defending him in this complicated case. I said in the court that this murder was not done, but was got done as soon as listening to me. Whispers started in the court. Someone started talking about being a soul and a vampire. Then someone started calling these things nonsense. After listening to the debate inside the courtroom, the judge said that you should understand that the court does not believe on ghosts but on evidence and witnesses. Therefore it will be punished. I said that you are absolutely right, but before sentencing, you should listen to his story. The judge agreed with me, and my client started telling his story of 2 years ago, when my client Arn's future wife's entire family moved to Bluefields. Her wife, Debbie, rented a bungalow for her parents and younger brother David to live in. Debbie's bungalow was in a very secluded place. The fellow was very big and beautiful too. Started shifting all the stuff to the bungalow. But Debbie's younger brother happily started searching every corner of the house. Was shifted. They noticed that David went up and did not come down. When Debbie went upstairs to find him, David was crying in a corner. He said that we should go out of this house, otherwise we all will be killed. When David said this, Debbie started pulling him by holding his hand. Did not even move. He was sitting quietly, yet he did not move. Debbie understood that something was wrong. Let's go from here. This house is mine, so much that he fainted. Debbie shouted and called her parents upstairs, and they took David downstairs to his room. When he threw water on his face, he opened his eyes, and as soon as he opened his eyes, he sat down in fear and said that the bad uncle said to go away from here. Not bad uncles, even good uncles were not seeing him there. Even though no one could see anything, some people were standing in front of David's eyes. Some had black eyes and some had red eyes. David's mother hugged her and did not let go until she fell asleep. Seeing her son in this condition, his mother had tears in her eyes. Her father said that nothing will happen to him. They will take him to the best doctor tomorrow itself. But little did they know that David was not possessed by any disease but by this evil spirit. And what can doctors do? And then that something happened that after checking, the doctor told that David is absolutely fine, nothing happened to him, and they all came back home. Anything and always mumbles in a corner. But when someone comes, he becomes talking in the corner, that too Latin language, but he had not even heard any other language other than English. David's family members got suspicious. Something is wrong with his son, so he took him to the church, but David ran away from the church and went back home. His mother started crying, "What happened to my son? Why is he afraid of the church?" Then a man from the church, the priest, came out and said that the devil is afraid. And there is not one but 40 devils living inside your son who want to take possession of his body. He is a child. He will not be able to handle the pain of extremism. He will remain alive as long as he is alive. I cannot put his life in danger. After listening to the priest, everyone returned home disappointed. David's condition had worsened now. He kept shouting night and night. Sometimes he used to walk with his hands and feet inverted, just kept looking in a corner the whole day. Finally here David's father came to know about Mr. and Mrs. Charles. David's father told him the whole thing and he agreed to save David. The night came when David had to be treated. Two colleagues held David's two hands, and then the pastor started his chanting with Mr. and Mrs. Charles. David started going crazy after hearing every word of the Bible. His nerves started turning black and he fainted. David did not open his eyes and remained unconscious until the next morning. The priest said that in the second Exodus, no one would be with him except Mr. and Mrs. Charles. And as soon as Arn came to know that the younger brother of his future wife was in such a condition, he came to meet him and started insisting to be with him in the night's extremism. Finally Mr. Charles said yes, but asked her to keep quiet. But as soon as the process started, Arn's condition worsened. Seeing David in pain, his heart came in his mouth and he screamed that the devil is showing his power on the child if you have the courage. Then David started laughing seeing Arn. Arn got scared and said that you only want the body, neither take mine. David fainted, and seeing Arn felt as if he had got a strong electric shock. David was fine now. Everyone was happy. Arn had completely calmed down. They both understood that now the devil is inside Arn. But what do they do? One morning when Arn's eyes opened, he came to know that he had become a murderer. But he did not remember anything except that someone had forced him to do all this. Even if I agree to this, the court does not allow us to believe in ghosts. Your client gets the least punishment on the pretext of self-defense. Will the devil inside him keep quiet? Or will he hunt his prey inside the prison itself? I don't know anything. I only know that I have saved an innocent, but you decide whether I had done right or wrong.